The galaxy was quiet, almost too quiet. Star systems spun silently in the endless black, and on the edge of a distant nebula, something stirred. In the Council of Allied Worlds, alarm bells rang. Ships were disappearing, entire colonies vanishing without a trace. Panic spread through alien civilizations. Messages flew across space. We need help, someone, anyone. No one answered at first. Except one planet, small but stubborn. Earth. Humanity. Captain Leona Briggs stared at the glowing console aboard the Earth's flagship Vigilant. She rubbed her eyes. Another distress call, she said. This one is from the Ferenzi cluster. They've lost 3 ships in a week. Lieutenant Merrick, her second-in-command, frowned. It's not like us to get involved. Why take the risk? Leona's eyes hardened. Because no one else will. And because if we don't, more worlds will fall. Humanity doesn't run from fire. We answer it. The Council debated for hours. Finally, Earth's decision was made. The human fleet would respond. Meanwhile, on a distant asteroid, unseen by any telescope, shadows moved. Something ancient, something hungry. It was not a ship, not a race, not even a creature by normal definitions. It was a force. A predator that devoured entire star systems. It had no name, no mercy, and it was coming closer. Back on Earth, the fleet prepared. Ships roared to life, engines blazing. Pilots ran drills, engineers checked weapon systems, and scientists ran simulations. Humanity had faced war before, but never like this. Never against something that could erase them from existence as easily as a spark disappears in the dark. Commander Briggs walked the corridors of the flagship, observing her crew. They were young, brave, untested. And yet, in their eyes, she saw the same fire she had felt the first time she flew into the unknown. Humanity was reckless, brave, terrifyingly unpredictable. And she would use that to their advantage. The first jump through hyperspace was tense. Every officer aboard Vigilant felt the weight of 1,000 eyes across the galaxy. Could humans really make a difference? Could their small fleet stand against a predator that no one had ever fought? Then, they arrived. The Ferenzi cluster lay before them, twisted and broken. Ships floated lifelessly in orbit around destroyed planets. Silence hung like a heavy fog. The crew of Vigilant shivered. It was worse than they imagined. Scan for survivors, Leona ordered. The consoles beeped. Nothing. Not a single life sign. Only debris. Only death. And then, a signal pulsed. Faint. Weak. But alive. A distress beacon from a single surviving ship, drifting near the edge of a black hole. The crew held their breath. Rescue would be dangerous. Every second counted. Leona turned to her pilot, Jax. Prepare the fastest course. We can't lose them. As the ship plunged toward the black hole, alarms screamed. Unknown object approaching. Merrick shouted. On the screens, something moved in the shadows. Something massive. Something that had waited patiently for humans to arrive. Leona gritted her teeth. All weapons online. Do not let it touch the Ferenzi ship. The first clash was sudden and violent. Energy blasts lit up the void. Humans moved with skill and desperation, dodging strikes from a predator that seemed to anticipate their every move. Yet, despite the odds, humanity fought back. Their weapons hit, their tactics were unpredictable, and for the first time, the predator hesitated. Inside the Ferenzi ship, survivors clung to hope. They whispered prayers to gods they barely knew, hoping that these humans, strange, chaotic, fearless, could save them. Back on Vigilant, Leona saw something that made her stomach tighten. The predator had split, and one of its forms moved straight for the ship. It was enormous, covered in dark plates that absorbed light, with tendrils that could crush steel. Brace for impact, she ordered. Every crew member held their ground. Human firepower surged. Lasers tore through the darkness, missiles screamed toward the creature. and then, a sudden flash. The predator shrieked, a sound that made every human shiver, and retreated, disappearing into the black void. Silence followed. The survivors were safe. For now. But the victory was fleeting. Leona looked at the stars, her face pale but determined. This is only the beginning. They called for help, and we answered. But the galaxy has no idea what's coming. And neither do they. The crew of Vigilant stared at her. Fear mixed with awe. Humanity had stepped onto a stage far larger than Earth, into a war older than the stars. And in that moment, one thing was certain. The galaxy would never forget the name of humanity. And somewhere in the shadows, the predator waited, planning its next move. The galaxy had noticed humanity. In the Council of Allied Worlds, whispers spread like wildfire. Humans are reckless, one diplomat warned. They may survive, but can they understand the danger? On board the Vigilant, Captain Leona Briggs moved through the command deck, eyes scanning the stars. The crew was exhausted, yet alive. The Ferenzi survivors had been rescued, but the shadow of the predator lingered. Every sensor ping, every ripple in space, made them tense. Something was watching. Something calculating. Lieutenant Merrick frowned at the screen. Captain, long-range scans show unusual activity near the Hyron Nebula. Energy signatures. They match what we saw before. The predator. Leona's jaw tightened. It's not just one anymore. Whatever this is, it's multiplying, or evolving. And it's coming for more than just ships. Back on the Ferenzi ship, survivors whispered among themselves. Why humans? One asked quietly. Why risk everything for us? A young engineer named Tall answered, shaking his head. I don't know. But I think humans fight differently. They don't fear the impossible. That scares them. Leona studied the holographic map of the cluster. The predator had left a path of destruction that stretched over light years. We need to strike first, she said. We can't wait for it to choose its next victim. The human fleet prepared. Each ship, small compared to the massive predator forms, bristled with weapons. Pilots ran drills in zero-gravity simulators, while engineers adjusted the energy shields to withstand attacks that no one had yet experienced. As the fleet approached the Hyron Nebula, the gas clouds shimmered with strange colors. Something moved within the mist, massive forms that appeared and disappeared like shadows. The predator was hunting. Stay sharp, Leona ordered. We are not just defending ourselves. We are sending a message. The first encounter was brutal. The predator's tendrils lashed out, ripping apart smaller ships before they could fire. Explosions lit the nebula like fireworks, but the humans pressed forward, using unpredictable maneuvers that confused their attacker. Jax, the lead pilot, laughed through the tension. These things aren't ready for us. We fight smart, and they panic. Merrick gritted his teeth. It's not panic. It's adapting. Be ready. Every strike we make changes its behavior. One mistake, and a massive shadow slammed into the side of the Vigilant. Alarms screamed. Sparks flew. Leona grabbed the console. Divert shields. Fire all countermeasures. The crew worked in perfect rhythm. Lasers fired, missiles launched, and the predator recoiled. For a moment, it seemed like the humans had the upper hand. But then, it did something no one expected. The creature split into smaller forms, faster and harder to track. They swarmed the fleet, striking in synchronized attacks that tore through formations. One human ship went dark, drifting lifelessly into the nebula. Leona's hands shook as she watched. We can't lose more. We have to hit it at its core. Find the command center, or whatever controls it. Tall, from the Ferenzi survivors, hesitated. Captain, it's not like a normal ship. It's alive. It's everywhere at once. You can't just hit a core. You'll die trying. Leona's gaze was cold but determined. If we do nothing, we all die anyway. The humans regrouped, drawing the predator into a trap near a dense cluster of gas clouds. Using their smaller ships as decoys, they lured the beast toward concentrated energy beams. It was a risky plan, and many doubted it would work. Then the first strike began. Energy beams slammed into the predator's forms. It screeched, a sound that echoed through space. For a moment, silence fell. The predator paused, unsure, confused. Humanity was clever, unpredictable, and ruthless. But the victory was only temporary. The predator adapted. Its forms shifted, tendrils moving like living shields. One massive appendage struck the flagship, shaking the entire deck. Crew members were thrown to the floor. Leona gritted her teeth, blood running from a cut on her temple. Hold. We can't let it break formation. Some pilots panicked, breaking away from the trap. Explosions erupted as the predator crushed ships one by one. Yet the humans fought back harder, refusing to retreat. Finally, after hours of battle, the predator withdrew. It did not flee. It calculated, it learned, and it waited. Somewhere, far beyond sensors, it observed, preparing for the next strike. The human fleet limped away from the nebula, damaged but alive. Casualties were high, and yet, the galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans fought against impossible odds, and they had survived. Leona watched the stars, exhaustion heavy in her bones. We showed them fire, she murmured. And we will show them more. But this is only the beginning. Merrick placed a hand on her shoulder. Do you think the galaxy is ready for us? Leona's eyes burned with resolve. The galaxy doesn't get a choice. We are here. And we will not back down. Not now, not ever. And somewhere in the darkness, the predator waited. Patient. Calculating. Hungry. Humanity had made the first move, but the next encounter would test them in ways no one could imagine. The galaxy had grown uneasy. News of humanity's bold attack against the predator spread like wildfire. Allies whispered in awe, enemies in fear. And somewhere in the darkness, the predator learned. Aboard the Vigilant, Captain Leona Briggs paced the command deck. The crew was weary, repairs were ongoing, and tension hung like a heavy cloud. Every beep of the sensors, every flicker of the starfield, made them jump. Lieutenant Merrick approached her, voice low. Captain, long-range scans show multiple predator signatures. They're not just isolated anymore. Something bigger is coming. Leona didn't flinch. Then we prepare. If they want war, we'll give it fire. Meanwhile, deep within a ruined star system, strange vessels drifted. Unlike human ships, they were organic, alive, their surfaces pulsating as if breathing. Inside, dark eyes observed, calculating, learning. The predator had changed. It had grown smarter, faster, more lethal. Back on the Vigilant, the humans strategized. Engineers worked tirelessly, modifying weapons and shields, while scientists analyzed every scrap of data collected during the last encounter. Every error, every strength of the predator, was noted. Humanity would fight smarter this time. Tall, the forensic engineer, watched them with amazement. You humans, you adapt faster than anything I've ever seen. Leona smiled faintly. It's survival. That, and stubbornness. We don't run. The fleet moved toward the Quran Expanse, a sector rich in resources and strategically important for the Predator's next attack. As they approached, sensors picked up disturbances, ripples in space, energy anomalies, and shadows that moved unnaturally. Suddenly, alarms blared. "Unknown entity approaching," shouted Jax, the lead pilot. On the screens, dark shapes emerged from the void. Faster. Smarter. They struck in waves, hitting smaller ships before anyone could react. Leona's hands gripped the console. Form defensive lines. Concentrate fire on the lead entity. The humans fought with courage and skill, dodging strikes, counterattacking with precision. But the Predator was evolving. Its forms twisted mid-attack, shifting shields where energy had hit moments ago. Ships were torn apart, explosions lighting the void like stars dying. Merrick shouted over the chaos. "Captain! They're patterns. They're anticipating us." Leona's eyes narrowed. "Then we stop fighting like humans and start thinking like predators." She called for a daring plan, a trap within the Charon asteroid belt. Using small, maneuverable fighters as bait, the humans lured the predators' forms into narrow passages. The asteroid's magnetic fields interfered with its sensors, slowing it. Energy beams and plasma cannons fired from the hidden fleet. One of the predators' forms shrieked in frustration as it was hit repeatedly, but it did not retreat. It adapted. Its appendages stretched unnaturally, wrapping around rocks, crushing ships. One fighter was lost. Another barely escaped. Amid the chaos, Leona noticed something strange. Within the predator's attacks, a pattern emerged. It was learning, yes, but also curious. Certain maneuvers were ignored, certain weapons avoided. It was testing them, probing weaknesses, almost studying them. Tall muttered, "It's not mindless. It's intelligent. Maybe it wants to understand us." Leona's gaze hardened. "Then we make it regret underestimating humanity." The humans launched a coordinated strike. Using experimental weapons that emitted energy pulses disrupting the predator's senses, they struck with precision. One massive form screamed, then collapsed, retreating into the void. But the victory was fleeting. Merrick looked grim. "It's not dead. It's adapting faster than we can keep up. Every encounter teaches it something new." Leona's face was pale but determined. "Then we fight smarter, not harder. We learn faster than it does. That's how humanity survives." As the fleet limped back to repair stations, the survivors whispered among themselves. "They are fearless," one said. "And maybe unstoppable." Leona stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. Somewhere, beyond sensors, the predator waited. Watching. Planning. It was patient, relentless, and deadly. But humanity had a fire no predator had ever faced: courage, creativity, and the refusal to surrender. The galaxy held its breath. The next encounter would not just be a battle. It would be a test of everything humans were capable of, and the predator would learn, perhaps too late, that some sparks could ignite infernos. Somewhere, deep in the shadows of space, the predator shifted. Its forms multiplied, stretching across light years. It was hungry. It was clever. And now, it was coming with a vengeance. Humanity had survived the first strikes, but the war had only begun. And in the darkness of the Charon expanse, a new kind of fear was born, one that no one in the galaxy had ever faced before: humans who would fight against impossible odds and refuse to die. The stars seemed darker than usual as the human fleet approached the Charon expanse again. The scars of their last battle were still fresh: damaged ships drifting in repair docks, crew members with burns and bruises, hearts heavy but minds sharp. Humanity had survived, but barely. Captain Leona Briggs walked the bridge of the Vigilant, her eyes scanning the star maps. Something was off. Long-range scans showed faint energy signals, traces of the predator, yes, but there was another presence. Something older. Something intelligent. Lieutenant Merrick frowned. "Captain, these readings, they're different. They're structured, like code. Not just attacks, but messages." Leona's brow furrowed. Messages? From the predator? Tall, the forensic engineer, shook his head. "No, not exactly. These readings, they feel ancient. Like the predator wasn't born in this galaxy. Like it was sent here." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member felt it, the chill of understanding. This was no random monster. It had a purpose, a mission that went beyond simple hunting. Suddenly, alarms screamed. "Incoming cluster formation!" Jax shouted, pointing to the view screen. Shadows moved in calculated patterns, surrounding the fleet from all sides. The predator was here, but it was different this time. It wasn't attacking immediately. It was waiting, studying, circling like a dark star of death. Leona gritted her teeth. All weapons online. Do not engage until I give the order. Watch it carefully. We need information. The fleet held steady, scanning, analyzing every move. The Predator struck suddenly, not with brute force, but precision. One of the smaller ships was sliced apart, vaporized in an instant. Another barely escaped. The humans realized with horror that the Predator had learned their tactics. They were predictable to it now. Marek cursed under his breath. It adapts faster than we can strategize. Leona clenched her fists. Then we change the game. We don't fight how it expects. We fight differently. Unpredictably. That's humanity. Using the asteroid belts of the expanse, the humans executed daring maneuvers. Ships darted between rocks, fired energy pulses in unexpected patterns, and lured parts of the Predator's forms into traps. One of the Predator's appendages was severed, and the creature shrieked, a sound that made even the bravest human shiver. But then, something impossible happened. The Predator stopped retreating. Instead, it emitted a pulse, a signal that the humans could barely decipher. Strange symbols flickered across their screens, patterns in energy that suggested intelligence far beyond anything they had seen. Tal's eyes widened. It's communicating, not just attacking. And these symbols, they're not random. They're instructions. Like, it's receiving orders. Leona stared at the screens, heart pounding. Orders? From who? Before anyone could answer, the Predator revealed a new form. It had merged with something else, organic and mechanical at once, with a shape that defied comprehension. Its mass seemed endless, stretching across space like a living shadow. Its eyes, or whatever counted as eyes, glowed with cold intelligence. Marek whispered, "It's not alone. Something guided it here. Something ancient. Something galactic." The humans had fought monsters before, but this was beyond fear. This was strategy, intelligence, and purpose combined in a way that challenged everything humanity believed about the universe. Leona's gaze hardened. "We've survived before, and we'll survive again. But we need answers. We need to know what we're facing. Tal, analyze those signals. I want everything we can learn about its origin." As Tal worked frantically, decoding patterns in the Predator's pulses, the fleet noticed something chilling. Every time a human ship fired, the Predator responded, not just attacking, but modifying its forms instantly, adapting in ways that suggested foresight. Then came the breakthrough. Tal shouted, "Captain! These signals, they're coordinates. And not just coordinates. They're a map. A map to a place far outside this galaxy. It's home. Or at least, the source of its orders." The revelation hit like a supernova. The Predator was not a lone hunter. It was part of something bigger, an ancient intelligence, older than stars, moving through the galaxy with a purpose that no one fully understood. Humanity was not fighting a monster. They were fighting the envoy of a cosmic force. Leona's mind raced. If we follow this, we might find answers. Or we might walk straight into the heart of danger. Either way, we cannot wait. Humanity doesn't run. Marek looked at her, eyes wide. "Captain, this could be suicide." Leona's lips curved into a grim smile. "Maybe. But that's never stopped us before." The fleet prepared to follow the map, entering uncharted space, beyond sensors, beyond known territories. Every crew member knew the risks. Every mind knew the unknown could kill them instantly. Yet, there was excitement too, a spark that humans always carried, the same spark that had made them masters of survival. Courage. As they moved forward, the Predator observed. Its forms merged and multiplied, sending waves of energy that echoed across light years. It was patient. It was waiting for the humans to reach its source. And somewhere, in the cold darkness of space, the true force behind the Predator stirred, its attention fixed on Earth's fleet. The galaxy held its breath. The next step of humanity's journey would not just be a fight for survival. It would be a revelation of truths so vast and terrifying that the universe itself seemed to tremble. And Captain Leona Briggs knew, deep in her bones, that the fire of humanity had only just begun to burn. The map glowed on the main console of the Vigilant, revealing a path through uncharted space. Stars thinned, planets disappeared, and nebulae twisted into shapes the human eye had never seen. Every system felt alive, silent, watchful, waiting. Captain Leona Briggs stood at the front of the bridge, her hands gripping the rail. "This is it," she said. "The source of the Predator. Whatever controls it. This is where we'll either understand or die." Lieutenant Merrick frowned. "Captain, sensors are picking up something huge, massive energy readings. This isn't just a ship. It's a structure. Something artificial, ancient, and alive." Tall's eyes widened. "Captain, I've never seen energy signatures like this. It's breathing, pulsing, like a heartbeat stretched across kilometers." The fleet entered the coordinates, cautiously. Asteroids and strange energy currents surrounded them, twisting and warping space. It was as if reality itself bent around this place. The Predator had guided them here. Or perhaps, it had led them into a trap. From the darkness, shadows emerged, forms that were massive and countless. Not all were predators they had fought before. Some were strange constructs, half organic, half machine, with energy flowing like rivers under their surfaces. The fleet held tight, ready to defend. Leona's voice was calm but firm. "Keep formation. We study first. Fire only if we must." Jax, the lead pilot, whispered, "I've never seen anything this big, this intelligent. How do we even fight it?" Leona's eyes narrowed. "We don't. Not yet. We survive, we observe, and we learn. That's how humans win." The fleet moved forward, weaving between massive structures. Then, the truth became visible. A colossal station, larger than anything built by humans or known civilizations, floating in orbit around a dead star. Its surface shimmered with energy, as if alive. Pulsing lights moved along ridges like veins. Merrick swallowed. This is what was controlling the Predator. Leona's mind raced. And now we're here. Time to see who, or what, we're dealing with. Suddenly, the Predator appeared, not in attack mode, but in a defensive stance. It circled the fleet, observing them, sending pulses that disrupted shields. It was warning them, or testing them. Tall scanned the signals frantically. "Captain, the Predator is trying to communicate. Not in words, but in energy. Patterns. It's begging us to stop. Or, maybe guiding us further. I'm not sure." Leona frowned. "Then we follow. Slowly. Carefully. Humanity doesn't step back when the unknown calls." As the fleet approached the station, massive doors, or perhaps openings, split open. Energy flooded out, forming corridors of light and shadow. The human sensors could barely penetrate. It was a labyrinth of living machinery, pulsing and shifting as though it were breathing. Inside, a voice, or something like a voice, resonated in the fleet's communications, though no one spoke. A thought, alien but clear, reached their minds. "Why have you come, humans?" The crew froze. Even the bravest pilot trembled. Humanity had never heard anything like this, a consciousness stretching across space, reaching out to them directly. Leona spoke aloud, as if to the entity itself. "We came because the galaxy called for help. Your Predator attacked, killed, and destroyed. We will not stand by while civilizations die. We answer fire with fire." There was silence, then a ripple across the energy waves. The station seemed to pulse faster. The Predator, once a shadow of destruction, moved closer, but it no longer attacked. It circled as if protecting something, or waiting for permission. Tall decoded a fragment of the pattern. "Captain, I think the Predator was never the enemy. It was guarding this station. Teaching us. Testing us. Preparing us. Leona's heart pounded. Teaching us? Preparing us? For what? The answer came not in words, but in a massive surge of energy. The station pulsed, and holographic images flashed across the void. Entire galaxies, civilizations, wars, and creatures long extinct, all displayed in brief, vivid bursts. The humans understood, even if they couldn't fully comprehend. They had stepped into the heart of an ancient, living intelligence. The predator hovered, waiting. Not threatening, not attacking. Waiting for the humans to decide, to prove they were worthy of surviving what lay ahead. Leona gripped the console. We've made it this far, and we won't turn back now. Humanity has answered the call. We will face whatever comes. And we will survive. Merrick glanced at her, awe mixed with fear. Captain, this is bigger than anything. Bigger than the galaxy itself. Leona's gaze was steady. Exactly. And we are human. That's why we can face it. The station's energy pulsed again, brighter, almost alive. Somewhere deep within, the predator's forms moved as guides, not hunters. Humanity's challenge was clear: survive the unknown, understand its purpose, and unlock the secrets of an intelligence older than the stars. The galaxy watched in silence. The war was no longer against a predator. It was against an ancient force, testing humanity. And the fire of humanity burned brighter than ever, ready to face the darkness. The Vigilant hovered at the edge of the ancient station, its hull battered, but its crew alive. The predator circled them, no longer a threat, but a guardian. Every human aboard felt the weight of the unknown pressing in, a cold presence older than stars themselves. Captain Leona Briggs stood at the bridge, eyes fixed on the pulsing station. "This is it," she said. "Whatever is inside, we face it. Humanity has come this far. We answer the call, with fire." Lieutenant Merrick glanced at her nervously. "Captain, I've never seen anything like this. How do we even fight, or survive, something that's alive on this scale?" Leona's jaw tightened. "We don't fight it like a monster. We think. We adapt. We do what humans do best." Inside the station, corridors of light and shadow twisted and shifted. Energy streams moved like rivers, walls pulsed like veins, and the air, or whatever filled the space, buzzed with intelligence. The predator led them carefully, showing paths that avoided lethal traps, almost guiding them deeper. Tall muttered, "It's testing us. Everything we've done, every battle we survived, has led us here. It wants to see if we're ready." Leona nodded. "Then we show it. We are humans. And humans don't back down." Suddenly, the station reacted. Massive energy forms erupted around them, not as weapons, but as challenges. Walls shifted, corridors closed, and immense gravity fields forced the humans to think fast. Ships had to navigate narrow tunnels, dodging energy streams that could crush steel. The predator's forms flitted ahead, showing which paths were safe, testing the humans' speed and decision-making. Jax gritted his teeth, piloting a fighter through the shifting labyrinth. "This is insane. It's like the station itself is alive." "It is alive," Merrick shouted. "We're inside a mind, and it's judging us." Leona's eyes scanned the energy flows. She realized that the station responded to thought, to courage, to ingenuity. Every time the humans made a clever move, the station pulsed in approval, opening new paths. Every mistake triggered challenges, testing their endurance. Hours, or perhaps days, time felt strange here, passed as the fleet navigated the station. Humans worked together with a precision born from desperation, adapting faster than the ancient intelligence could throw obstacles at them. Finally, they reached the core, a vast chamber of light, energy flowing like a storm across the walls. The predator hovered at the entrance, motionless. Leona stepped forward, alone, staring into the heart of the station. A voice, thought, energy, consciousness, reached them directly. "Why have you survived? Why do you continue?" Leona swallowed, then spoke boldly. "We survive because we must. We continue because we fight for more than ourselves. Humanity doesn't give up, doesn't retreat, and never accepts fear as final. We answer the call, with fire. And fire never dies. The station pulsed violently, shaking, energy streams flaring like suns. The predator's forms scattered, merging with the storm of light. For a moment, the humans feared it might destroy them. Then, silence. The energy pulsed slowly, deliberately, and the predator hovered, calm, almost respectful. The station shifted, and in the void of space, images of galaxies, civilizations, and countless species flashed briefly. The humans understood. The station had judged them. Humanity had passed. Merrick whispered, awe in his voice. We did it. It accepted us. Leona's voice was steady. Not accepted, recognized. Humanity has a fire no ancient intelligence can ignore. We survived. We adapted. And we proved that we belong. The station pulsed once more, then slowly receded, energy calming, corridors opening a path back to open space. The predator followed, now no longer a hunter, but a guide. Tall's eyes shone with wonder. Captain, it's like it respects us. It let us live because it sees what humans can do. Leona looked at her fleet, battered but alive. The galaxy called for help. We answered. We faced impossible odds, creatures older than stars, and survived. Humanity doesn't just endure. Humanity thrives. The predator and the station faded into the void, leaving humanity at the edge of a new frontier. The galaxy had witnessed fire, courage, and determination beyond imagining. Humans had proven that even against unimaginable odds, they could rise, adapt, and overcome. Jax let out a laugh, tired but victorious. We made it. Against the impossible. Leona smiled faintly. We did more than survive. We showed the galaxy who we are. And the universe will remember. As the fleet prepared to return to known space, the stars seemed brighter. The galaxy had been silent for so long, waiting for a species that could rise against impossible threats. Humanity had answered. With fire. And somewhere, in the vast emptiness, the predator lingered, not as an enemy, but as a witness. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. And the fire of humanity would never be forgotten. The galaxy had called for help. Humanity had answered.